Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Clark Montessori High School. My name is Patrick Lewis alongside freshman Joey Olberding. We're here for the Clark Montessori Cougars versus the Cincinnati Country Day Indians. A big game for Cincinnati Country Day, as well as Clark Montessori, as both have been streaking recently. Last couple of games have not been friendly for either team. Joey, what can we tell us about tonight's game?
Well, Patrick, I can say that there are a lot of good scorers this time around, especially for CCD. Clark, they're getting back Gideon Thomas and Micah Thomas, and we'll see how they fare against the Stars for the CCD team. And Trey Smith, who's leading the conference in rebounds with 12.5 and is second in points per game with 20.5. And the fact that Blake and Matthew Atkins are also doing great. Blake is actually fourth in scoring with 17.3 in the conference. He is fourth in steals with 2.8 a game and is tied with DeShante Hawkins for those amount of steals. DeShante Hawkins, of course, playing for Clark. And, Clark has, played better basketball overall. They've been able to score better without Micah and Gideon Thomas, but they've still gone 1 and 2. So we'll see how that happens in this game.
Yeah. Thanks, Joey. It's a great input. We're going to get ready here to honor the flag and stand for the national anthem and the starters.
Now let's introduce the Cincinnati Country Day Indians. Starting number 0, Matthew Atkins. Number 3, Blake Atkins. Number 13, TJ Rock. Number 14, Trey Smith. Number 22, Jack Gardner. And by head coach, Ray Ross.
Big thank you to the public address announcer, Clinton, for his remarks on the starters. Getting ready to get to go here, and Joey did mention that we're going to get back the Thomas brothers, Micah and Gideon. It's going to help with the height, respectively. Both are 6'5" and 6'3". Getting the start tonight, however, is Marlon Lyons, who is around 6'3" listed, but I can tell you from standing next to him, he is a little bit taller than 6'3" for sure. So we'll see if he can make some havoc under the boards with Jack Gardner, the senior, on the other side being 6'5". And Lyons gets the tip, and the Cougars will start with the ball. Faison far corner. let's see if their offense can do something this time around. It's been stagnant, Joey, from the past few games.
Yeah, it has. They've lost both games. The first one, which was against Seven Hills, was actually very close, being 49-47. But they lost both games, and now their record sits at 7-8 overall.
Shanti Hawkins at the top of the key, trying to do something with this motion offense. Seven Hills was a game that they thought they should have won, losing by 2 points. Taking time off the clock here, 40 seconds off the clock in this possession. Nothing has been happening inside. Now Lyons gets the ball on the low post near, kicks it back out. Not much moving. Sean Ely takes a far two, back rims it, ends up in a Cougars' hands. Faison steps on the sideline. It'll be Indians' ball.
Well, you mentioned, Patrick, about the fact that, they thought the Seven Hills game was a close game. Whenever you lose a close game like that, you can't help but feel remorse and feel like something should have happened. And Clark really did play a pretty solid game. Of course, they had a few things that went wrong, but everybody does.
Ball tipped on the entry pass. Nice look underneath from Trey Smith to his buddy Gardner, and Gardner gets the first 2 points of this game. Gardner and Trey Smith are going to be a combo underneath that we're going to see if Lyons can stop without the Thomas brothers entering the game. And now Lyons gets on the far block, kicks it back out. Lots of passing here, but good defense. Ely was open for a minute near the three-point line, then loses it inside. Going the other way is Blake Atkins. And a traveling violation on Blake, who's averaging 17 points a game and 8 rebounds per.
And Blake Atkins also does pole vaults, so that really helps with his jumping ability, wouldn't you say?
I would think so. So we're in the set, down 2. 6:14 to go. Shanti, far wing, just inside 3, off the mark, and Trey Smith is going. Fast now. Into a Cougar defender is Matthew Atkins, and who will draw the foul and go to the free throw line as he misses the layup.
Deshaunte Hawkins should be a big part of this game. His ability to be able to steal the ball, he's tied actually with Blake Atkins in terms of steals, averaging 2.8, as I mentioned a little earlier. So he should be a big part of this, trying to disrupt the offense of CCD.
And Blake and Matthew are brothers, as Matt hits 1 of 2. He was a 47% free throw shooter, and 3-0 is your score 6 minutes to go in this first quarter. Let's see what kind of offense, because that's hurting the Cougars way too much these past few games, and honestly, CCD has been struggling too. Last 4 games, they've been averaging 44 points per, as Terrence McLean's shot is off the mark inside, and quickly the other way is Blake Atkins. Blake's knifing through the middle, misses the layup. Cougars fast the other way. Sean Ely leading the charge, blocked by Gardner.
You're just seeing Jack Gardner's height and just how much space he takes up on the court. You can really tell that he's a big presence there down low.
Cougars will retain possession because Gardner was on the baseline. Block shot the other way quickly is Matthew Atkins. Matt Atkins, a big true now, an over back call. He stepped over the baseline. Faison did, trying to get an entry pass, and a timeout called by Wally Vickers to talk to his team, down 5.
Well, I guess we'll have to see about this game. Many of the scoring numbers for Clark and CCD in general have been very close. For instance, their points allowed have been virtually the same, both averaging 52. CCD averaging 52.0 and Clark averaging 52.7. But the points that are actually made, CCD is averaging 58.3, while Clark is only averaging 50.1, and we'll see how stats like that can change the course of this game.
Yeah, both are able to score in bunches. They are. The Indians started the year 9-1, and were scoring at a high rate of 66 points per game through their first 8 games, but then really trailed off towards the last 4. So we're inbounding again, 5:20 to play. Indians possession. TJ Brock at the point being guarded by Sean Ely. Nice entry pass into Trey Smith, and very little resistance on the low block for Trey Smith, 7-0.
Well, Patrick, you know that you can never trust numbers at the beginning of the year, just through a few games. You know, you can't really be too sure of how people will end the season and how good they will be.
This is true as we get a long three from the near corner is good by Sean Ely, who is the Cougars' leading scorer just by a hair above Shanti Hawkins with 11.6 per.
And that's why both of them will be a big part of this game. They really are the stars of this team.
TJ Brock tries to drive baseline, steal. Shanti Hawkins quickly the other way. Layup and off and good. Blake Atkins tried to give that a block. Hits the glass. 7-5 now quickly the other way. Layup missed. Trey Smith. Miles Faison has an opportunity one-on-one and gets fouled on the way up by TJ Brock.
Transition buckets like that are going to be what Clark is going to strive for in this game, able to disrupt the CCD offense and being able to, you know, take that ball. And that's why we were talking about earlier with Deshaunte Hawkins and Miles Faison being a big part of this team and big part of this game plan for Clark and how they beat a great team like CCD that's 9-3 overall.
And you're exactly right. Taking that ball in transition, getting it out early to make a one-on-one or a two-on-one opportunity in transition basketball is going to be important for the Cougars as they try to tie this game now with Miles at the line hitting his first. And his second free throw. Miles is a 75% free throw shooter and hits two big ones here to start the game. 4:12 left to go in the first. 7-all your score.
Free throw shooting is going to be a big part of this Clark offense. Clark is shooting 9% better from the line than CCD.
Lazy pass by Matt Adkins was almost intercepted by Ely. We'll have a side out. Cougars playing a man defense to start out this game. Matt Atkins at the point, guarded by new entrant, Brazil Moore. The junior doing good at the top of the key. Wide open three for Trey Smith is good. That was long.
And of course, Trey Smith is their leading scorer, and as I mentioned, the leading scorer in the conference. So you just can't leave a guy like that wide open, especially somebody who's at the point and is 6'3". That's some NBA level size, you know?
Yeah, 6'3". He's a senior this year. He can shoot the ball from inside and outside, make good post moves. Now he got beat on defense there, and Sean, he misses the layup. Sean got his buddy Marlon, though, has his back, puts it in on the putback. 9-10 your score, 3-13.
And that's just good play calling by Wally Vickers in order to be able to make sure.
Steal by Hawkins. Hawkins free lane. First lead for the Cougars at 11-10 and timeouts, Indians.
More good play calling by Wally Vickers, and that gives them a 1-point lead here. And, you know, Wally Vickers is really giving them with some good play calling. If you miss the bucket down low, somebody's there to put it back in. And if, you know, you're facing a team like CCD, you know, you're going to have to stay sharp and have to know when to take that ball and what passes you should really lunge out for that ball, and you're seeing it's working very well for them.
Yeah, you can definitely tell the difference in this game is the steals and transition basketball that the Cougars were able to create based on their defensive prowess. It's not their offense. They have really rarely done anything offensively in their half-court set other than their three-point field goal that they made by Ely. So all of their baskets have been coming in transition.
Which is really a big deal. And it's both a good thing and a bad thing because you want to be able to generate offense that's not on the turnovers, but the turnovers are a big part and very important.
Kyle Young now in the game, and he's going to be called for a travel as Brazil Moore forces him into the shuffle in those feet. And another turnover for CCD to start this game. 2:54 to go in the first quarter, 11-10 your score with Hawkins at the point. See what they can do in this half-court set now, because with that stop turnover, they're going to have to create something offensively. Shot, no look pass to Quincy Musillo. Drops it in from the near block. Musillo getting his first points. I know he likes to get those big man points down low.
Oh, yeah.
13-10 your score, 2:30 to go in this first quarter. Trey Smith, guarded by Musio. Musio's going to take that to heart. Passes it up. Gets in the paint. Floater no good. Rebound Cougars quickly the other way. Hawkins. Pull up from the elbow. Good.
Yeah.
15-10. Cougars starting to make some shots.
Another good transition bucket, but for the defense can get there. And you can see that's been Clark's forte this entire game.
Stop, popping, dropping it is Blake Atkins on the other end to respond. 15-12, 157. Marlon Lyons open for three. He'll take those. Off
Wide
the mark
open.
a little bit. Nice rebounding, though, by the Cougars early on. Shotgun's trying to no-look again. Was stolen. Trey Smith the other way. Knocked away, picked up by the Cougars. And we're going to have a foul as Ely goes to the ground. And will be
and you're seeing
on the Indians.
CCD. You're seeing CCD now starting to, really look at these Clark Cougars as being able to get transition buckets. You can see Clark's up 3 right now, and CCD isn't very comfortable. After all, they've lost 2 straight, so is Clark. So this is a big game for them. They definitely do not want to fall against a team like Clark, who's 7-8 and not even above 500 at the moment. So this is an important game, and they're starting to struggle.
And Clark's now in their offensive set here in the half court. Long cross-court pass to Ely from Lyons. And we have another one. Ely, fake passing. They're trying to find something to create against this 2-3 defensive zone that CCD is in. Nice penetration by Ely. Found Musio, but he kicked it back out. Hawkins, deep 3 from the wing.
Ooh.
Barely rattles
And you're
in.
seeing, usually with Clark, their perimeter offense and the fact that they're passing back and forth doesn't really work, but they've gotten better and better at it as the years progressed.
Kylan Young slipping on the court will be called a Cougar foul. 18-12, just now under a minute to go in this first quarter. You like to see Clark end strong here. 18 points in a quarter is unlike Clark all
Definitely.
year.
Yeah,
all year.
Exactly. This is a very good offensive showcase from Clark, especially with a little under a minute to play.
Driving is Kylan Young. Floater, Banks off the mark. Banks not open for him. Quickly in transition. Hawkins to Ely. Knocked away. Picked up by Moore. Moore going to set it up. Ely baseline. Looking for that layup. Gets blocked. CCD ball in transition. Up ahead. They have Cordia. Finds his teammate underneath. Blocked. But a foul will be called underneath.
Transition basketball, that is the story of this game. All the teams are looking at the basketball and saying, I want it, and they're rushing out and trying to get it. And you know what? Most of the time it's working. And in this case, it was a block that drawed the foul, not anything else.
Yeah, that foul was going to be on Deshaunte Hawkins, not the try off the block by Quincy. Got him with the body underneath. And at the free throw line, it's Ethan Jeffries who misses his first. Jeffries, a 50% free throw shooter, but hasn't had many opportunities this season at the line. Hits the second one, and he's true for that 50%. So 18-13, 22 seconds to play. They'll clearly hold for the final shot here. Moore heading the point. Wally Vickers asking for Shanti, holding the ball. Now 10 seconds.
They got plenty of time to create a good shot here.
6 seconds at the logo. That might be a good time for him to start creating. Gets that 2-3 zone. Passing to Ely, 3. Back rims it, and that'll do it. 18-13, big quarter. Nice start for the Clark Cougars.
5-point game.
This is 95.7 MRC.
Cincinnati's new music.
95.7 MRC.
Hi, this is Tasty Burger. How may I help you?
Yeah, let me get a large heart attack, 2 orders of high cholesterol, and a side of muffin top. Hey, Gene, what do you want?
Yeah, just give me a number 3 with high blood pressure and an extra set of love handles and a pot belly.
Want that supersized?
Most definitely.
Obesity prevention starts with you. For more info, go to choosemyplate.gov.
Thought I ain't want no supersize. He must be crazy.
Cincinnati's new music.
95.7 MRC.
95.7 MRC.
How long does it take to get to the forest?
That's not far.
What are we gonna do? Hike?
Sure.
Are we there yet?
Yep, it's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org, brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Back here at 3030 Erie Avenue, Patrick Lewis alongside Clark Montessori freshman Joey Olberding in a positive first quarter for the Cougars, which we haven't seen a whole bunch
not
this year,
Oh.
with Ashanti Hawkins leading the Cougars with 9 points.
Yeah, he's really come out and really, as I mentioned, he's able to get those turnover buckets, and he's just able to get those steals, and he's looking like John Wall out there, able to get all those steals and able to move so quickly on the court.
Long three by the Indians is airballed by Eris Anderson. The way Hawkins trying to go baseline is going to be fouled, it looks like, by an Indian. Indians in that first quarter had 6 turnovers compared to the Cougars 3.
And that's a lot of turnovers for one quarter. I mean,
Sure is.
You're seeing CCD is averaging 10 turnovers a game, or making 10 turnovers, and Clark is averaging making 13. And we're already very close to that mark, especially for Clark.
Yeah, and Shanti Hawkins is eager to have a big game already with those 9 points, averaging 11 on the season. I'm sure they're going to try to feed his hot hand the rest of these 3 quarters. 7:20 to play in this first half. Cougars not eager to get anything up as Brazil gets a rainbow shot. That's his typical shot, a rainbow shot. And intercepted by Brazil. He airballed that, but he came up with that steal. And a missed layup by Hawkins. Rebound will be loose, out of bounds to CCD.
Now, that steal was a hustle play by Brazil Moore, and you can really see he was going all out. It's clear that Wally must have said something to these guys before they came out on the court to help them to say, try to get those turnovers, and you've definitely seen that in this game.
CCD in their half-court set now. Trey Young guarded by Lions. A lot of passing around, just like the Cougars. And now they entrance pass to Colin Sam. Sam, the turnaround, no good. Fight for the rebound is corralled by Lions. A defensive rebound is huge. They got to need more of those. And steps by Brazil will turn the ball over.
And another big part of Clark's game that has been happening in this game is they've been able to get a lot more rebounds. Now, CCD is averaging 35.7 rebounds a game, while Clark is averaging 24.1. That's a difference in 11 rebounds per game. But in this game, you're seeing Clark have that extra hustle, have Quincy Macio on the glass and being able to help.
Yeah, Macio and Lions are in now as we get a 3 by Trey Smith to cut it to a 2-point lead. 18-16 your score, 6:20 to go in this first half.
Good game here.
Great game so far. CCD, again, they're streaking. There are 2 losses out of their 3 have come in the last 2 games. And the Cougars looking to get back to 500 at 7-8. Lions on the interior couldn't do anything against this 2-3 zone. Nice look inside. Again, many Indians surrounding the Cougars as they try to get something inside, but a foul will be called.
And you can see those Indians are really trying to put on pressure like Clark has been able to do on them so far in this game to kind of, be able to recreate what Clark has been able to do and what has worked for them. And in some aspects, it's very much working.
Entrance pass from Faison to Macio is knocked away, back out of bounds, so we'll try it again. TJ Brock entering the game for Eris Anderson on the Indian side.
Jack Gardner, the 6'5" forward, wasn't too happy about that call, or at least he's voicing his frustrations.
Well, Macio's on the deck right now. I'm not sure why. He's going to get frustrated. I know he's got temper, so we're going to see if Macio can hold that and use it to his benefit. 32 down there is pounding. Right now we're just passing around the perimeter. Marlon Lyons trying to go baseline. He can make that shot off the mark. And quickly the other way is CCD. Missed layup in transition by TJ Brock. And Faison looking to create.
Great pressure there from Brazil Moore. He was able to get down to the bucket really quickly and be able to put that pressure that was needed.
Faison slicing in. Knocked away, almost a foul. I thought that was, he got his arm a little bit. But nice job by Faison getting in the middle there and ball knocked away. So we'll stay with the Cougars with 5:10 to play.
Definitely.
18-16 still your score.
Yeah, definitely some contact there. And, you know, could have been a foul, could not have been the foul. I'm not the ref here.
Yeah, timeout taken by the Cougars. 18-16. We got a lot of scoring in that first quarter.
Yeah.
And right now we haven't had anything by Clark in this first 3 minutes or so.
But they're still leading by 2 with 5 minutes to play here just in the second quarter. So, you know, we'll see how Clark is able to adjust and maybe do a little better, even though they're already doing a very good job in this game. And we'll see how CCD is able to adjust too.
Yeah, they haven't got a turnover yet. In the second quarter, we'll see how they do here in this offensive set. This is very important. This is a part of their game, the Cougars' game, that they desperately need to improve if they're going to be above 500 team going to the tournament.
Oh, of course.
A lot of this motion offense needs to go faster and with more authority. Faison now looking for an inbounds pass. Gets it stolen, but right back is Deshanti, who steals it right again. Finds Faison underneath, trying to create his own space and does. Leaning in with that shoulder, Faison puts 2 in, 2016.
What were you saying about that turnover bucket, Patrick?
Yeah, well, we had 2 per team right there. 1 turnover apiece. Now, trying to respond is Blake Atkins, and he does with a nice floater in the lane, 2018. Under 5 minutes to play. Sean Ely set to check in, as well as Terrence McLean when the next whistle happens for the Cougars.
That's a nice hook there by Blake there, just being able to go over all the defense. And, you know, that's really an aspect in basketball that isn't appreciated as much as it should be.
Lyons is getting an opportunity near that block on the baseline. He's not having a whole lot of people come through, and there's that physicality I talked about. Musio's ending up on the floor, and a foul is going to be called on an Indian. Looks like Blake Atkins will be a person that's going to be represented for that foul. And you can see the head coach for the Indians, Greg Ross, arguing with the official a little bit about his man having some space. Well, nonetheless, they're going to stick with the Clark ball here.
Well, Masio obviously isn't too happy either. You can just see on his face he's not too happy.
An opportunity as Faison was slashing through the lane as Sean Ely comes in, was just going to pass it to him, but Sean didn't see him on that out of bounds. So we're going to start the offensive set at the top of the key.
Again.
Looking for maybe some picks to set some people up. Quincy's doing work down there. He's struggling. He's breathing hard down there on that post. He wants a little break. He's the only big man in now for Clark. Cross-court pass. This zone is tearing him up. Long 2-point by Ely's off the mark. Long rebound to Faison. Not a happy Indian coach. That Ross wanted that rebound. Going sideline, then backing out again. Just a lot of passing. Nothing really happened. No look pass to McLean. Then again in a pass to Masio. McLean probably should have taken that himself.
Yeah. Yeah, really. You know, right there, down low. Yeah, I mean, you got to take a shot, or if you're going to pass it, you got to make sure it's somewhere where your man could definitely get it and you have a clear view.
Yeah, so McLean's pass goes out of bounds. Trey Young now trying to respond and knocked away. Trey's not very happy. Long up-court pass to Faison. Faison is on the baseline.
Ooh.
He stopped inbounds but slid out. I don't know if he was pushed by Matt Atkins or not. Regardless, it's a turnover. And Atkins now.
Ooh, some contact there.
But that was created by Faison. Faison tried to get out of the way. He's got his hands up saying he's not guilty. But we're going to get a side out by the Indians. 20-18, 3:18 to go in this first half. Only 2 points for the Cougars in this second quarter.
And they're still leading by 2 points.
Trey Young in the low block, made position and then finished with that position. Biggs couldn't stop him on that low post. 20 is your score, 2:55 to play. Let's see if the Cougars can respond with some of their offensive themselves. They're going to have, this whole second quarter has been through their offensive set, and you can clearly see that is their downfall. Shanti Hawkins, again, just passing it around the perimeter. 3-point field goal. Tries good by Sean Ely near wing.
And here we go, and now we're seeing some more of that Clark offense, but we're also seeing some CCD offense. Trey Smith has 10 points, and I keep talking about he's leading the conference in points scored, so this is to be expected, but still.
Trey Smith trying to do a pick and pop. Didn't work out. Good defense by Hawkins, who's guarding him. Now Hawkins switches. Top of the key, Sean Ely doing a nice job defense. Cross-court pass. Be shot by Matt Atkins, who's just inside the three-point line for the two. Well done by Matt Atkins. 2 minutes to play in this first half, 23-22 Cougars.
Now, 1 point game, and you're seeing these teams are really evenly matched, like I was talking about with the stats earlier. That's really clear to see, and these teams are closer than the record makes it seem.
Big 2 minutes here for Clark as they throw it away.
Ooh, that's just bad. That's not what you need in a tight game like this, but we'll see how CCD is able to respond.
Yeah, that's just an easy pass, a bounce pass that just falls out of the hands from Hawkins to Ely. Good look down low. Layup is not made by Blake Atkins, but will be fouled and shoot two. Good look from outside the three-point line, but one of his teammates.
And going back to that pass for a second, Clark has been able to make some way crazier passes, down low and then just throwing it up to somebody on the perimeter. And they've been able to do that multiple times, but a simple bounce pass is the one where they're struggling a little bit. So we'll see if that's able to change in the second half. But for now, Clark still has a 1 point lead, so we'll see.
Yeah, you got to be able to pass it with authority and being smart where you're going to pass it. As Atkins hits the first free throw, he's a 56% free throw shooter and misses the second. Rebound is still up for grabs. The tie-up will be called in possession Clark.
And another important aspect, and I mentioned this earlier, but I'll touch up on it again, is that Clark is a much better free throw shooting team. Them shooting 67% and CCD only is shooting 58.1, and that can really change the course of a game if it comes down to be close like this one.
23 all, 116 to play. Clark and their offense is set in their half court, trying to sustain that lead that they built in that first quarter with an 18-point first quarter. Only 5 points here in the second. Now 1 minute to play. These guards look a little confused. They're out of sorts now from what it seemed to be. They're not getting those transition points they did. Sean Neely trying to create nice pass underneath the Marlin Lions. That's what you got to do. You got to get in the lane, have people crowd to you, and then find the open man, and that's what Ely did. Trey Young trying to fade away three, hits it from the near corner. Trey Young puts the Indians up by one.
That's why he's the leading scorer in the conference.
And a steal made by Blake Atkins. Blake one-on-one with Hawkins. Hawkins fouls him and then gets the basket to go.
Wow, okay, so in like 5 seconds, you saw a total shift in momentum.
Well, we're going to see the foul was on the floor.
Oh.
They're not going to count that basket. So we're going to stay 26-25 with 30 seconds to go as the Indians are going to inbound it underneath the basket.
Well, now they're in the bonus, so that was still a big foul, even though we have 30 seconds to play.
Trey Young down the post, guarded by Faison. Passes it to the opposite post to Atkins. Matt Atkins, who backs it out now to TJ Brock. Fadeaway three from the top of the key. Nice rebound by Lions. 18 seconds to go. Cougars need to do something here. Long pass up court was defended by Brock, but Brock couldn't do it without fouling. They had one foul to give. They had 5 team fouls. Now both have 16 fouls, so this will be a side out with 14.3 seconds to go. Brazil Moore with the ball holding at the logo. 10 seconds to go.
Now
Clark spread out, 2-3 zone.
This is what they did earlier and didn't really work out. We'll see how this one goes.
6 seconds. And again, they try to get to Ely in the corner. Half-court shot, no good by the Indians. And an interesting end to the second quarter.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So our first half will end with a CCD advantage by 1 point, 26-25. And we're going to take an 8-minute break or so, and we'll meet you right before the second half starts.
We'll be right back.
Music has a powerful effect on anyone, whether you're the one creating it or just listening. At the Music Resource Center Cincinnati, the fun of making music is available to any teen, grades 7 through 12. Record your own songs in our state-of-the-art studios, take one-on-one vocal or instrument lessons, or learn about the music industry and production from professional staff and volunteers, all for just $24 a year. Find out more at mrccincy.org. Music Resource Center, empowering youth through music.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. You're neutral to it. You hear it every time you finish a meal and never feel anything. But if we were able to associate this sound with a new stimulus, save the food, we've achieved pulling a natural response from you. Save the food. Why are we doing this, you may ask? Save the food. Because this ad is trying to change your after-meal behavior through brainwashing. Because food waste costs the average family $1,500 a year. Save the food. Cha-ching. And $1,500 extra bucks is like getting a pay raise. Save the food. Cha-ching. You're promoted. Which could pay for your child's braces. Save the food. Cha-ching. You're promoted.
Check out my braces.
So when you hear this sound, rethink your behavior. Cook it, store it, share it. Just don't waste it. For tips and recipes, visit savethefood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
Straight from the Music Resource Center.
This is 95.7 MRC.
This is 95.7 MRC.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone who
had to be independent and take initiative. And that's how I handle every project I get.
Discover new ways to develop great talent at gradsoflife.org. Brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
What's good? It's 95.7 MRC.
95.7 MRC.
Cincinnati's new music.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Cincinnati's new music.
95.7MRC.com.
This is 95.7 MRC.
Only in the forest can you see this. And this. And this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
I didn't know it could do that!
Because one trip to the forest can spark a world of difference.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go, like hiking, canoeing, fishing, or camping. Or create your own adventure with family and friends, and you might just see this. Your moment's out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
This is 95.7 MRC.
Cincinnati's new music.
We're even on your smartphone at 957mrc.com.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off for school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Beamin'.
No music, you heard?
Beamin' the boom. From high atop Essex Studios, this is WVQCLP Cincinnati.
95.7.
95.7.
95.7.
95.7 MRC.
Cincinnati's new music.
Tweens have mastered the art of tuning out. Jen, there's a spider in the car. We're turning your room into a home gym. See? Nothing. But some messages need to get through. Like making sure they're buckled up the whole ride, every time. Do whatever it takes to make your child listen. Jen, I friended your boyfriend.
Wait, what?
Buckle up, sweetie.
Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Want to write your own songs, make your own beats, record your own music, get free music lessons? Go to mrccincy.org to find out more about the Music Resource Center.
This is 95.7 MRC.
It's important to buckle up your kids.
I know.
Sometimes car seats can be complicated.
I know.
And if your child's in the wrong seat and you get into a crash,
I know.
it could lead to a serious injury.
I know.
So you're 100% sure you have the right car seat for your child's age and size?
I don't know.
Don't think you know. Know you know. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Make sure you have the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The freshest beats. First, 95.7 MRC.
It's 95.7 MRC. Let's go.
Cincinnati's new music.
Everybody buckle up. Buckle up.
Let's go.
Buckle up.
Can we go to the store? Mom, can we get some ice cream?
Everybody, buckle up.
A lot goes on in the car, but you're in control. So only move when you hear the click that says they're buckled in. Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Student run, student made.
Direct from the MRC, straight from the Music Resource Center.
95.7 MRC. This is 95.7 MRC.
Cincinnati's new music.
We're even on your smartphone at 957mrc.com.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off at school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Beamin'.
No music, you heard?
Beamin' the boom. From high atop Essex Studios, this is WVQCLP Cincinnati.
95.7.
95.7.
95.7.
95.7 MRC.
Cincinnati's new music.
Tweens have mastered the art of tuning out. Jen, there's a spider in the car. We're turning your room into a home gym. See? Nothing. But some messages need to get through. Like making sure they're buckled up the whole ride, every time. Do whatever it takes to make your child listen. Jen, I friended your boyfriend.
Wait, what?
Buckle up, sweetie.
Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Want to write your own songs, make your own beats, record your own music, get free music lessons? Go to mrccincy.org to find out more about the Music Resource Center.
This is 95.7 MRC.
It's important to buckle up your kids.
I know.
Sometimes car seats can be complicated.
I know.
And if your child's in the wrong seat and you get into a crash,
I know.
it could lead to a serious injury.
Student run, student made.
Direct from the MRC, straight from the Music Resource Center.
95.7 MRC.
And welcome back. We're about to ready to start the second half here. I'm Patrick Lewis and freshman Clark Montessori athlete, student athlete, epic guy all around in general, Joey Olberding here with me.
Thank you, Patrick.
You're very welcome. Joey, we've had a tale of two quarters here. Tell us a little bit about the first half.
Well, the first quarter, and really the first half in general, was dominated by Clark at first. They came out, they did well. They were very good at getting turnovers, and they were very good at getting steals in general. Quincy Macio was a big factor. When Quincy Macio was on the court throughout the entire first half, Clark outscored CCD by 9. But now,
which is huge. That's a big thing. What do you think contributed to that?
Well, I think the fact that he's such a presence down low, that really the rest of the players aren't as much as a presence, especially because the Thomas brothers haven't actually played yet in this game. So that was a big deal. But in the second quarter, once I kind of got Museo out of there, you saw a shift in momentum with no big guy being down low for them. So that's when CCD started to jump out, and then they have a 1-point lead.
Yeah, I agree. In this game, we talked a little bit about it before the start of the game, but it has big implications for both teams. CCD has those 3 losses, but all 3 losses are in conference.
Yeah.
And right now, Clark Montessori like we mentioned before, is trying to get back to 500, but they're 6-3 in conference. If they win, they're in second place right behind Summit Country Day, and they'll jump 2 teams in front of them. And CCD, if they lose, they'll lose 2 spots, and that's big for them going into more conference play in the next couple of games. So we are underway here as the Indians, nice look down low. That's a set play coming out of the timeout, or out of the half. Blake Adkins finds Gardner on a nice cut through the paint, and Museo, who didn't start the second half, is now coming right back to the table to nullify those types of points. So 28-25 is your score in favor of CCD. Faison near corner. He's open for a 3 if he wants to take it. Didn't even look. Ely now slicing in. Floater in. We had about 4 different Indians trying to block his shot, and he threw over every single one, 27-28.
That's amazing. And you know, Faison not shooting that 3. Well, Clark only shoots 23% from 3.
As a long 3 there is taken by Trey Young. By Trey Smith is off the mark and rebounded defensively by Clark. And as Sean Ely is trying to do something offensively, is fouled.
You said Trey Young. I wish he was here playing for Clark.
The Oklahoma standout is doing stuff tonight. That it was just in the back of my head because I saw those advertisements.
Yeah,
all
Oklahoma,
day.
Kansas. Oklahoma, Kansas.
It's a big game for them. That's also in conference in the Big 12, so conference games all around. Inbounds pass stolen by Trey up ahead.
Baseball pass right there.
Yeah, he flung that. Oh, my gosh, where's the defense? And that was Terrence McLean, it looked like, who just gave up on the Indian, who went in for a nice, easy layup, and Musiu couldn't help his buddy out. So 30-27, 6:35. Let's see what the Cougars can do here. 2-3 zone again for the Indians in this half. Hawkins trying to do the crossover is kicked out of bounds by Brock. Brock has 2 fouls, as Eris Anderson also has 2 fouls starting the second half. And a big point for the Cougars is Deshaunte Hawkins also has 2 personal fouls.
TJ Brock was saying some words to Greg Ross right there after the play. I don't know what he was saying, but it didn't seem very friendly.
Free throw shot from Hawkins, well off the mark. Hawkins usually makes those easily. Nice rebound by McLean. Somehow he got it. Gave it to Hawkins again as we're going to set up. Faison near wing. Ely wide open 3 from the near wing. Hits it. That's a big shot, tying it at 30.
You can't leave Sean Ely that wide open, especially if he's the leading scorer for Clark.
Yeah.
That's basic things that CCD needs to manage. I think CCD is more so managing on the game plan, and a good job by Wally Vickers than anything
Wide
else.
open 3 by the Indians is off the mark. Brock shot that one. Defensive rebound has been a good thing for the Cougars this game and continues to be in the second half as Faison tries to shoot it from about 16 feet. Off the mark. And rebound by the Cougars will reset. We mentioned the Thomas brothers haven't played. Micah is now sitting at the scores table ready to check in. As we're tied 30 all here, approaching 5 minutes to play in the third quarter. Museo down low, kicks it far back out. Sean Neely trying to do something as kicks it over to Shock and Hawkins for the 3, misses. Defensive rebound by the Indians. With their opportunity now under 5 minutes going the other way. Trey Young thought about it, but he shuffled his feet from way far out.
Look, you said Trey Young again. It's
I did. I
Smith.
know. It's hilarious. It's hilarious because I mean, his game is very similar. I'm not going to lie to you.
It really is. You know who he really reminds me
Thanks
of?
for pointing that out, though.
He really does remind me of Kristaps Porzingis for the Knicks. I mean, he can shoot outside. He's not afraid to shoot deep. He makes good passes. Really just a great player all around.
Yeah, and he's listed at 6'3". I'm not sure he's 6'3". He might be closer to 6'2". So 30-30 your score. Miles Faison runs into his own player, it looks like, and he's going to be called for traveling. It's just an unfortunate sequence of events there for Faison.
That play reminded me like a few years ago when that guy who played for the Astros ran right into Brandon Phillips going to second base and it ran right into his backside.
Yeah.
It looked like that.
Yeah, so hopefully we don't see something like that again in the offensive set. So we have a long 3, misses. Rebound by the Cougars. Cougars the other way, trying to get that lead back. Faison is going to get fouled, but the shot doesn't go.
And you're seeing CCD have so much confidence. They're willing to take those long shots in those really cool uniforms. Their uniforms are really cool. I really like their uniforms. Nice light blue.
Yeah, they got that Tar Heel blue a little bit.
Oh, I like it.
Faison hits his third in a row. He's the only person for the Cougars to go to the foul line today. Only 3 free throws shot by Clark, and Faison has made them all. So he will try to make it a 4-for-4 night. And he does. 75% free throw shooters, upping that percentage tonight. 32-30 lead for Clark. 4:05 to go in the third.
Really consistent free throw shooter, and is exactly what Clark wants in a basketball player.
Good defense by Micah Thomas on Blake Adkins. Creates an air ball. Quickly the other way, Faison. Continue passing it around the perimeter. Hawkins double teamed in the far wing. Cross-court pass to Ely. Ely now going baseline. Gets double teamed. Nice defense by the Indians. Hawkins from the elbow. Off the back rim. Defensive rebound by Matt Atkins, who is going to take the point. Now is in the lane, around the free throw line. Loses the ball. Picked up by Faison. 2-on-2. Faison pulls up and then gets fouled by Blake Atkins.
Transition opportunities like that haven't really been seen. You haven't seen Clark really do that this half. So,
yeah,
the opportunity to go to the free throw line for Faison again, who looks like he's kind of hurting, is a big deal.
We're going to get a timeout by the Indians coach Greg Ross. So let's take a minute and talk a little bit about that difference. So the turnovers that they didn't create in the second quarter, which gave CCD that lead back that they created in the first quarter, is now starting to happen again in the third quarter. And as you see, 32-30, that lead is a result of those turnovers.
And, Quincy Macio was out for the first part, but now you have Micah Thomas back out there, and he's also, he's also kind of a threat on the inside and maybe scaring CCD a bit with his presence. You haven't seen him all game, and, you obviously have to do your research coming in, and you know what a threat on the glass he can be, averaging 9.1 points a game. So that is a big deal and something CCD always has to watch out for.
Yeah, you mentioned at the beginning with some quality stats about the teams being even, and right now free throws is going to be the difference maker, as CCD has been 50% from the line, and Clark thus far, knock on wood, no broadcasters jinx here. Faison going the free throw line to continue that 100% streak from the free throw line.
Well, we'll see about that.
Number 3, now Faison shooting 2.
Fired up.
Well, at least no jinx for that first one. Miles hits it.
5 of 5.
Not much of a crowd today. Both schools represented here, and perfect from the free throw line is Faison as he gets a hand slap from his buddy Brazil, who's going to replace him on the floor. 34-30, 3:17 to go in the third quarter. 6 for 6 from the line, Faison is, and that's going to be a big, big help going down the stretch if he can be in at the fourth quarter if this game is close, to put some of those in the bucket. Gosh, again, finding him open. Trae Young blocked by Micah Thomas. That impact by Micah felt defensively early on. Sean Ely, front rims a 3. Picked up by Matt Atkins. Matt Atkins has got Ely one-on-one, pulls up from about 10 feet and rattles it in. 34-32, 2:49 to play. Hawkins quickly the other way. Sean has got one-on-one baseline, puts his body into Jeffries and scores.
Now you're seeing such fast offense. I can't even comment on anything. Now it's 36-32, and, well, we'll see how CCD responds.
0 team fouls for Clark right now, 2:30 to go in the third quarter. Musil loses Trey underneath, and Trey Smith has no problem laying it in.
He can just go anywhere. He can just go anywhere. He's a threat anywhere in the court.
And an errant pass by Hawkins goes out of bounds as Marlon Lyons comes in for Quincy. 36-34, 2:14 to play in the third with CCD's possession.
And now Messia is out, so we'll see if CCD is able to do well without that threat on the inside that we've seen all game.
And Micah Tom, and stolen by Hawkins, free lane to the rim. Nice easy layup, giving them a 4-point lead back. Now under 2 minutes to play. I've seen a big difference with Micah Thomas in. Oh man, open three. They're gonna call that a two, it's off anyway. Offensive rebound. CCD trying to create offensively. And a kick out to three, far wing, again off the mark. 2 threes missed in this possession. Lions with the rebound. Hawkins going quick from about 10 feet near the elbow, misses, gets his own rebound right near, and then swatted away by Mormon.
Efficient offense, even if it's not always working out, you're seeing Clark being able to get rebounds.
Ray Smith, angry at himself for missing a transition layup. None like him. Up 4, Ely going baseline, reverse lay-in!
He went up and under. That was just, that was Steph Curry moves, you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, using that rim for protection. 6-point lead, now under a minute to go. CCD trying to do something here within that last minute. Knocked away by Brazil. Brazil trying to get possession ahead, but gets knocked away, goes out of bounds, stays with the Cougars. Cougars will have possession on that turnover. Big 49 seconds. You bet Wally Vickers is going to try to take that 49 seconds and use that for one possession and try to limit the possessions for CCD, but we'll have Brazil inbounding it underneath the basket on the baseline.
Yeah, and you're starting to see that lead, this game kind of slip away for CCD, and that's a really big deal, especially, you know, for Clark.
Brazil trying to entrance pass to Marlon Lyons, gets knocked away. Mormon going the other way. Good defense by Hawkins will knock it out of bounds.
And you know, a big reason CCD has been able to stay in this game is because of Sean Ely, you know. Well, not Sean Ely.
So CCD now, Trey Young dicing in, misses another layup, gets his own rebound, muscling it in. On the floor, whistle will be a foul. And that's the first Cougar foul. But that's Deshanti's third personal foul.
Well,
28 seconds to go. Inbounds to Trey Young, knocked away, trying to save. No success. We'll stay with the Indians.
Well, Trey Smith has had a very good game here. You know, he has 15 points, and it's not 20, but I mean, we're in the third quarter with 26 seconds to play, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, so that 26 seconds left to play, the Indians called a timeout to try to set something up. And if history tells us anything, the out-of-bounds plays from the Indians have been extremely successful. So you can try to find somebody cutting off a pick, off ball, and finding them in a quick out-of-bounds play to get them points and putting them in a position where they don't have a 6-point deficit going into the fourth quarter.
Quick question, Patrick. Could one Trey Young beat 5 Cougars? No?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's what a hypothetical. But, I mean, sure. I mean, he's a shooter, man. You've seen his range.
Yeah, Trey Young for Oklahoma.
Should I make a Seth Curry range? Inbounds pass now to Trey Smith. And there it is, that cut. So Trey Smith tried to do a post move. 2 Cougars went, and then he found Gardner right behind the defense on the baseline. So 40-36, 14 seconds to go. Shanti Hawkins at the logo. Here we go again. And you betcha they're probably going to look for Sean Ely in that corner. That's what they have done the entire time, but let's see what Hawkins does. 6 seconds, finds Mike underneath. 3 seconds, air ball. Brazil tries to tip it in. No avail. So the Cougars go into the fourth quarter with a 4-point lead. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Hope it doesn't slip.
95.7 MRC.
MRC.
Cincinnati's new music.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Cincinnati's new music.
95.7 MRC.com.
This is 95.7 MRC.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip.
95.7.
95.7.
95.7.
95.7 MRC.
Cincinnati's new music.
Welcome back to 3030 Erie Avenue. My name is Patrick Lewis alongside Joey Olberding. Joey, we're going to end. I'm excited. I'm a loss for words because I didn't think that Clark was going to stick with CCD. I'm going to be clearly up front with you. I thought they were going to get beat because of Blake Atkins and Trey Smith coming out and scoring, but Trey has been held in check, and the offense for Clark has showed up.
Well, of course, a big part of that is the fact that Clark has 12 turnovers. They forced 12. We're just starting the fourth quarter. I mean, come on. That's very good numbers for Clark, and they average 13 a game. So, I mean, they're doing very well.
So Clark starts this fourth and possibly final frame of this tilt with possession. Up 4. A lot of movement now. I really like this motion offense that Wally Vickers has now put in play. Every single Clark Cougar is moving around, setting screens. It's like a carousel out there. Everyone's moving around.
Used to be there was no movement at all.
Marlon Lyons got set up for a 3. He missed it. Rebound is batted around and tipped into the backcourt, and Brazil Moore ends up with it. So we will keep possession with Clark.
Well, that's just hustle. That is just hustle. I mean, that's what Clark has shown all game, and this has really been a very good performance by them.
So now a minute into the fourth quarter. No points have been scored. Good passing, good movement. Micah Thomas found on the low block. Micah, almost made a three-point play if he could have finished that. And Micah's first game back after being absent. You wonder if that's attributed to Russ, because she was against Trey Smith on the low block, and he had the height advantage on Trey. He just turned around and missed the layup, but he's going to go to the free throw line.
Well, we'll see if that trend of Clark being good at free throws continues. I spoke too soon. He missed the free throw. That's what I get for opening my mouth.
Announcer's jinx, man. 56% from the charity stripe is Micah Thomas.
That's why I leave the play-by-play to you.
Well, he makes the second one, so he was listening. 41-36, 6:50 to go. Let's see if Clark defensive stand rears its head here. Trey Young with the ball, far wing, guarded by Hawkins. Nice pick to send him up baseline. Loses it, but it looks like he stepped on the baseline. So turnover by Trey Young, Smith, whatever you want to call him.
For the record, Trey Young is not the Trey Young from Oklahoma. It is a different guy whose name is Trey Smith. Patrick is just confusing the two.
So,
for the record.
A 5-point lead, and now a press by the Indians. Clark does a very nice job breaking it with putting somebody in the middle of the floor. Well done by Clark. First time they've had to do that tonight is break the press. Lots of movement. Shanti Hawkins one-on-one, goes baseline, bodies in and makes a layup. The largest lead of the game is 7.
Shanti Hawkins has really shown why he is one of the real stars for Clark in this game, just being able to move and being able to cut.
Trying to respond, and the Indians do with a nice cut layup by Blake Atkins through the defense. 43-38. Long pass. Lyons finds Micah Thomas on the other end.
Perfect.
Uncontested layup. Well done passing.
Perfect passing there. Perfect play call. And that was just amazing.
So up the other way quickly is Kylan Young, who loses it right next to the rim, but Trey Smith is right there to get his back and put it back in. Again, the press on by the Indians, 45-40, 5:30 to go, and Mike Thomas!
Oh!
Hoop in the harm!
Well, that rush got away real soon, I tell ya. 3-point plays going back to the line, and well, hopefully he'll make this one.
You saw Micah in the third quarter come in and make an impact defensively, and now in the fourth quarter coming in making an impact offensively.
And defensively.
Right. See if he can make the three-point play. Does not. Rattles out, 47-40. Your score?
I should just stop talking about free throws. Like, it just doesn't work, you know?
Blake Atkins off the mark on the floater. Ball is lost out of bounds. Cougars ball, last touch by the Indians. Big fourth quarter here for the Cougars. If they can sustain this lead, this will be a huge win and confidence builder for the Cougars moving forward in the second half of their season, as Hawkins has proven to be a leader. Who else can step up? Micah Thomas now out of the game after his quality performance. Brazil Moore taking his place. So guard heavy for Clark. 4:54 now to play. Ely's swerving and serving inside. 49-40.
That cutting has been a big part of Clark's game. A lot of things have gone very well for Clark, including turnovers, cutting, just being able to drive to the basket.
Trey Young being fouled now by DeShanti. That's his fourth personal, which right now is a big issue for Clark. Let's see how Wally Vickers. And right away, Wally Vickers, after learning that he has 4 personal fouls, is going to get Terrence McClain off the bench and substitute him at the 4:33 mark. Let's see how much time Wally Vickers decides to leave DeShanti on the bench. 2 team fouls for Clark, 5 for CCD, as you hear Terrence's name being shouted in the background by Wally Vickers. It's a pick and roll by Gardner, who kicks it back out. Trey Smith trying to create himself, loses it. The quick hands of Clark has been all over Trey Smith tonight.
Indeed. And, you know, Trey Smith still has 17 points in this game, almost at his season average with 4 to play. But still, you've seen all those turnovers being able to happen.
And there he is, muscling his way. There's not many bigs in now for Clark. Lyons is the biggest guy there at 6'3" or 6'4", depending on who you stand next to.
Yeah.
Your score is 49-42. Brazil Moore making his way down the post, trying to float one in.
An impressive,
misses and knocked out of bounds.
An impressive bounce pass while he was on the ground, you know?
Yeah, Sean Ely lost his footing, was on the ground, and found Brazil cutting to the basket while on the ground. You're right. As Cargers inbound it, top of the key. Less movement from the Cougars, as we have a nice crossover by Sean. Loses control, gets it to Marlin. Marlin underneath makes a layup, and the largest lead of the game is at 9.
Even with all these big men for CCD, you're still seeing Clark being able to get to the basket and being able to put it in, even though they don't really have the size.
Deflected pass ends up in Trey Smith's hands. Trey Smith's got to take over this game. Gardner against Lyons. Oh, nice find with Trey Smith and an and one.
Ooh.
Smith was going baseline and Gardner found him. 51-44, 3:12 to play. That was something that Micah did really well when he was in, guarding that low interior.
Definitely.
From passing.
Well, a lot of that is, as we've previously mentioned, that size, and Lyons doesn't really have as much size as Micah Thomas or Macio has. So that's a big deal in this game, and we'll see how that impacts it.
Trey completes the 3-point play at a 71% free throw shooter. The lead is 6. Hawkins is ready to check in as Sean Ely passes it back out. Terrence McClain trying to create baseline, passes it to Marlin, who loses it out of bounds. Turnover Clark, now under 3 minutes. Hawkins coming in now under 3 minutes, got a minute 20 rest.
Still a 6-point game. There's no guarantee for Clark that this game is in their hands, none at all.
Without a doubt, Clark has got to put together a good defensive set. Watch Trey Young, watch them on the screens and rolls. Trey is guarded by Sean Ely, who's off the ball right now. Errant pass, flies out of bounds and deflected. 2:36 to go in this game. Indians to inbound baseline. Again, tries to find Trey Young. Trey Young goes up and is fouled. Hopefully that's not on Hawkins. Hawkins is in the vicinity. Will be called on Sean Ely.
And he really is just such a dominant player, Trey Smith is. You know, he really is just able to move around the court. He's fast, he's strong, you know, he can shoot from anywhere. It's really quite impressive.
Trey hits the first free throw, again at 71% on the season. It's been Trey Smith and a lot of role players for the Indians. I think you can say a similar thing for Clark and DeShanti Hawkins and other people, but I feel like Clark has more role players that have contributed today. As Trey hits both, now it's a 4-point game.
It's definitely not just one person for Clark, for both teams. And, I mean, it's amazing. Trey Smith is at 24 points now, and he really is leading the team.
Yeah, he's got half their points as Faison tries to lay up, misses. Good effort rebounding all game by the Cougars as Hawkins comes up. Nice crossover. Kicks it back out to Faison. Faison inside the paint, looks underneath, knocked away. Indians now with the ball in transition. Loose ball falls outside. We'll stay with the Indians. 51-47, 2:07 to play. Indians want to be able to score here. There's that nice give and go off the mark. And will be fouled. Faison ends up with the defensive rebound and then is fouled by Blake Atkins.
Wally was definitely trying to get a timeout there. He's right in front of our little table and he was just screaming timeout, timeout. So.
And Wally Vickers giving Faison the stare down.
And see now the timeout is taken by the Cougars afterwards. So we'll see what will be discussed, probably their game plan in this last 2 minutes of the game.
Well, let's set that up for him, Joey. What do you say? We're at 51-47, a 4-point lead now for Clark. Team fouls. Clark is in the bonus from here on out.
Yeah.
And Clark has 2 fouls to give. They have 4 team fouls. So they have 2 fouls to give before they put the Indians on the free throw line. 1:55 to play. What do you think Vickers is telling his team?
Well, I think Wally wants to tell the Cougars to, first of all, you want to get the big guys on the court. But you also want to still have DeShanti Hawkins and Miles Faison there too. So you have Macio, you have Micah Thomas, Sean Ely, you'll have Brazil Moore, and of course Hawkins. So, I think that's the lineup that they need, and then they just need to be able to, you know, be smart and to be able to get those turnovers, but be able to know when. And that's something that's hard to do in basketball, but it's something that's essential if they want to keep this lead.
Well, let's set it up. You got Lyons, you got Ely, Moore, Hawkins, and Faison all on the court for the Cougars. As we inbounds, you're going to get a little bit of a press, not too much. Hawkins beats that easily with his dribbling skills. Finds Ely on the low block, blocked. Ooh, the attempt was not clean and will be called a foul on Matt Atkins and send Sean Ely to the free throw line. Well, Sean is their best free throw shooter at 81% this season.
It really is just an unfortunate play for CCD in this circumstance. And, you know, as I say it, he misses the free throw again, so I'm just going to, you know, I'm just going to let you take this one.
So Sean just misses his first one, but will come back, I believe, and make his second here. quietest the gym has ever been.
Okay.
As he puts him up by 5,
Yep.
1:48 to play.
Makes the free throw there.
Micah Thomas back in defensively for the Cougars. Trey Young is guarded by Micah Thomas, doesn't foul, but Trey puts it in. Well done by Trey on the offensive end. It's a 3-point game, 1:34 to play. Let's see what the Cougars' offensive strategy is here. This is anybody's game. Up 3 points, 125. Ely gets around his guy, and nice pass and a foul on the floor against the Indians, but that will put them in the bonus. So they're still shooting free throws if that's an Indian that fouled him.
Really a big deal right now. I mean, you just, it's a 3-point game. That's just not what you should do if you're CCD.
Well, the foul was on the floor against Sean on the pass to Micah, and now put Sean back on the free throw line. And this is where we talked about free throws making or missing the game.
It's
you almost.
I almost continued that sentence, and because of that, the free throw was almost missed, but
Yeah.
it's okay.
It
It's
literally
okay.
hit every part of that rim and then went in. Ely's 2 out of 2.
See, the next one was just straight away because we said nothing.
Yes, 5-point lead again now. 1:16 to play. Far corner baseline is Brock. Hooping the harm. Right now, you just do not want to foul. Everything they do offensively, you do not want to foul. Let them make a shot if they get close to the rim because you're stopping the clock and adding more points.
And the last foul by CCD was a big deal because if Clark were to miss, then it would be, if you could still get a 3 and tie it just like that.
Yeah, I mean, it would the game would be tied if Sean didn't make his free throws right now because Brock just completed that 3-point play. 54-52, approaching 1 minute.
And now Sean Ely is at his point total, his average point total at 20. So this continues his dominance he's had in the Miami Valley Conference this year.
As they just keep passing around the perimeter. Nice slice. Brazil Moore in, blocked cleanly by Trey Smith. And the Cougars will inbound with 47 seconds to play in this contest. This is a big game, as we mentioned, up to 54-52. Moore trying to find someone in. And a timeout called by Wally Vickers, thinking that they weren't going to get that ball in.
And Trey Smith, he reminds me of a lot of players. You already mentioned Trey Young many times, whether on purpose or not. And I already mentioned Kristaps Porzingis, but he also, just reminds me of a player like Ben Simmons in the way that he's able to play, almost anywhere in the court and he's able to shoot it. But unlike Ben Simmons, he can shoot the 3, as we've been able to see, shooting very, very long 3s throughout this entire game and being able to put them in. And that's why he has 20 points right now. And it really is, quite, mesmerizing to see because he really has been the backbone for the CCD team all year. And that's why it's a 2-point game right now. Still, it's Clark's lead, but that doesn't mean, it's still such a close game. That's still a big deal.
Yeah, it's a huge deal. And just to emphasize that more, if Clark now, again, this is based on if they win. If Clark wins, their next game is at Laughlin. And Laughlin is a game that they should win, just like the Seven Hills game. If they win this game, they gain some momentum. And I bet you they get back on that winning streak that they had at the beginning of the season. So teams take the floor after that timeout, and Miles Faison will inbound the ball.
So now
no one moving around. Hawkins finally gets the ball, stuck on the baseline, gets it to Micah out. Now finally some breathing room.
Now it looks like they're playing a little keep away. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to keep the ball away, yeah.
They're spreading the floor out quite a bit, and the contact on the defensive end is getting much more physical. There's a foul clearly was going to be called on Matt Atkins. Matt got a little bit too much of DeShanti as Shanti's holding his head a little bit.
Yeah, if you check him for blood, that was definitely a big collision right there.
Sean has been Deshaun has been on it tonight from the offensive standpoint, so he's feeling it. And he can make these. He's a shooter.
Yeah.
I've seen him in the gym quite a bit. He's worked on his shot a number of times. Even though he's only a 66% free throw shooter, he can make 2 of these. Back rims it off the mark, and those are big. 26 seconds, 2-point game.
2-point
CCD
game
with the ball.
That's the biggest thing, and this crowd was silent, so.
5 team fouls, so they have one to give. Pull up, Brock, back rims, rebound to Clark. 15 seconds to go.
And now CCD has to foul. They have to foul if they want to stay in this game. And you already saw, DeShante Hawkins already missed. So this.
Yeah, you need. Well, they're calling a foul now. It looks like. Looks like they're going to call foul because teams are lining up, and the best person right now to have on that line is Faison, and that is going to be the person standing at the charity stripe to try to put this lead to 4. And they are now in the double bonus, so one-on-one is no longer the case. Seven for 7.
Yeah. Faison just doing a really good job at shooting free throws today.
Second one up, and ends a switch.
Yeah.
Big 4-point lead now, 15 seconds to go. Long up
almost
pass.
Lost the ball.
Trey Smith, far corner for 3, rattles out. Brock, follow, no good. Rebound loose. Brazil Moore gets it, and it's a foul on the Indians with 5 seconds to go, and you can put this one in the books, ladies and gentlemen.
It's going to be a Clark win. The foul, still, you got to do what you got to do if you want to stay in for CCD, but it's clear that this game is over, and this will be a Clark victory, which will move them to 8-8 overall and move CCD to 9-4 overall. 5-4 in the conference, which is not good, especially for a team that really wants to stay in it. And
Brazil Moore hits
and
the front end of 2, putting it a 5-point lead.
And Clark will go to 7-3, which is on the conference, which is much better than CCD.
The second one rattles out. Should be no fouls here. Up 5. They can shoot a 3 all they want. And it goes up, and that's the end of the ball game. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge win for your Clark Montessori Cougars. Your final score, 57-52. And Joey, they go to 7-3 in conference.
Yeah.
And more importantly, 500 on the season.
Hey, that's always good if you can move up in the rankings, especially when you're going back to 500 ball and beating a solid 9-3 or now 9-4 team like CCD. And you can see CCD played a very solid game, and they really brought their all, and they really did a good job, especially of course the star being Trey Smith, but everybody overall did a good job. So that's just gonna make Clark have that momentum going forward, and they'll just be better and better moving forward, and maybe CCD will be able to come back from this.
Yeah, it's so interesting because you look at their schedule, as we're going to wait and hopefully get Wally Vickers here in a post-game interview and see his thoughts on this victory. But a 9-1 team, CCD was up until 2 games ago, and they lose 2 straight to go to 9-3. And the Cougars were all over the board. They started well, but 3-0, and then they lost 3 straight. And then it's just who knows what's going to happen with this team. But right now, a makeable win going at Lockland, who is on a losing streak as well, who play North College Hill and Summit Country Day in conference, who are the 2 best teams without a doubt in the Miami Valley Conference, and got blown out by both of them. So they're 4-9 overall and 3-5 in the conference. Lockland is, and you can see them going to Lockland on this Friday, the 26th at 7:30, and getting a victory. And if they do that, they come back here. Clark does, and then they play Norwood. And Norwood is a good team.
And you mentioned a second ago about how Clark was able to out-rebound CCD. I mentioned this a bit in the game, but CCD, averaging 35.7 rebounds a game, and Clark averaging 24.1. And coming into this game, I thought that CCD was going to out-rebound easy. I mean, Trey Smith is leading the conference in rebounds, second in points per game, and I thought those two would just, go hand in hand. He's averaging a double-double over here, and, that Clark was able to just come out and do really well. Now, that definitely could have been with the help of Micah Thomas coming back, but for the first half, he wasn't even there, and Clark was still able to keep it within one. So, really, it was just a great game all around for everybody on the Clark team, and they should be very happy with this win, and so should Wally Vickers.
And we're going to hear from Wally here in a quick sec. We're going to take a quick break and get Wally on the mic, and we'll see his thoughts.
Everything you're hearing is made by students right here in Cincinnati at the Music Resource Center.
It's all made by us.
This is 95.7 MRC.
Cincinnati's no music.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Listen and imagine. It takes 5 seconds to send a text, and for those 5 seconds, you're driving blind. Life is worth more than a text. Stay alive. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Student run, student made.
Direct from the MRC, straight from the Music Resource Center.
95.7 MRC.
Want to make your own beats? Go to mrccincy.org and join us.
Direct from the Music Resource Center in Cincinnati.
This is 95.7 MRC.
Is that a faucet running? That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink. What?
95.7.
95.7.
95.7.
95.7 MRC.
Cincinnati's new music.
Welcome back. We are post-game here. My name is Patrick Lewis, along with Joey Olberding. We'd like to welcome head coach of your Clark Cougars, Wally Vickers. Wally, congratulations on the victory tonight.
Hey, thanks, guys. I'm really proud of our team. It wasn't pretty at times, but we made enough plays that we needed to make.
Yeah, well, it was pretty enough because you're moving 7-3 in conference and back to 500. Tell us what that means for your team right now.
I know it means something, but I think just where we are as a program, if you do things the right way, winning and losing takes care of itself, and that's kind of how we're looking at things. So, but yeah, certainly to be that, have that record in the league is good.
Yeah. Just a quick question, Wally. So you had the top leading rebounder in the conference on the CCD team in Trey Smith, leading the conference in rebounds with 12.5, and he's second in points per game with over 20. How were you able to use your big men to be able to go against that force that is Trey Smith and able to just be able to do, well and being able to get those points and being able to do enough for a victory?
I'm not sure if we did do enough. And honestly, one of my takeaways was I was kind of disappointed in how we defended him. Our scouting report going into this game was not extensive. But the one guy that we talked about extensively about taking away some things was number 14. He's got great range as a shooter. He posts up. They do a good job of moving him around. We had multiple guys get their opportunity on him, and again, one of my takeaways, I'm a little disappointed that because at the end, in the last 2 minutes of the game, there was no question where he was going, where they were going,
of course.
And they scored some shots that we felt like we should have taken away.
Right. And let's talk about those takeaways just real quick. Obviously, the win means a whole lot, but let's talk personnel right now. Halfway through the season, more than halfway through the season right now, who are your leaders stepping up? You saw Miles Faison hit a bunch of free throws down the stretch. I mean, he made every single free throw for you. I mean, free throws was the determining factor in the win and loss tonight. So what are your takeaways from your team as a personnel-wise? Who's stepping up? Who can you count on moving forward?
Well, I think interesting you brought up Miles. And, when you're ahead late in the game, the other team's going to be in position, they're going to foul you. So if you don't make the free throws, you're potentially you could lose the game. So Miles was big. But to your question, Miles is just a young man that gets better each and every day. And we got a lot of guys that are really emerging as leaders, but Miles does so many things for us, items that don't always show up in the stat sheet. He's a great kind of a hockey pass guy. He doesn't always get the assist, but he gets the pass that leads to the assist. And defensively, you see he's in charge of guarding their ball handler a lot, and he really is disruptive defensively, and he rebounds the ball. I mean, for his size, he's one of the best rebounders in the league, and he's active. So we're really proud of what Miles is bringing to the table.
Good, yeah.
As kind of a follow-up question to the one I had about Trey Smith earlier, we know that your scouting report wasn't really extensive, but still, though Trey Smith did score 20, you were able to hold off some of the other players like Blake Adkins, who's actually 4th in the conference in scoring, Matthew Adkins, and Nick Cordeya. You were able to hold all of them off from scoring double digits. Smith was the only one to score double digits for CCD.
Yeah, Blake, how many did he end up with?
Blake,
less than 10?
Yeah. Well, at halftime, Atkins and those two guys had 18 of their 26 at halftime. So that was a major point of emphasis. And I did think, I think he got a left-hand drive at some point in the second half, and he got a layup. But besides that, I thought we did a really good job on him. And that was about Brazil. Moore and Miles and Sean and Shanti and all those guys, what they did defensively and not allowing him, because he's more of a penetrator, and we took away his ability to straight line drive.
Yeah, and we'd like to appreciate your time. We'll get you out on that. So, again, moving forward, you got Laughlin coming up, which is a winnable game, and then you come back here for your next home game against Norwood. So we hope to broadcast that, and we hope this propels you into a winning second half of the season. So we'd like to appreciate you taking the time out of your post game to give us some insights.
Hey, guys, appreciate the coverage. Thanks for being here, and looking forward to seeing you again.
All right. Appreciate it, Wally.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining us.
Okay.
And on that note, we also like to thank everybody at the Music Resource Center, MRC, for helping us put on this production.
Of course.
It would not be possible without those talented people over there on Woodburn and Mass working it very hard.
Oh yeah, they do so much. They're very helpful, and they are really what makes this be able to happen. And I really couldn't be grateful enough for the opportunities that I've been given from the Music Resource Center.
So catch Joey doing his payoff pitch also on the YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter. If you want to go ahead and comment on any of the stuff on YouTube, we'll be more than happy to try to do some of this stuff on the air and try to respond to your questions. But coming up next for us, the broadcast with Norwood here at Clark Montessori High School. So hopefully they do have a win against Laughlin and come in here and get a win here, and we have some smiles on our faces. So for Joey Olberding, my name is Patrick Lewis. Thank you for joining us here at Clark Montessori High School.